I don't see any evidence that the Germans are interested in overreaching or conquering anybody, but they do have an interest in restoring their productivity, their scientific industrial base. They've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. You know, when I went to school over there, and I went to a good school, and I was at a good school in the United States. I was the oldest Quaker private school in the United States, founded in 1681, the same year that my maternal ancestors arrived in the United States. And I was sent there because my maternal ancestors were all Quakers, and many of them had gone through all these Friends school systems. They were very good. And I went from that school for 1 year to Germany, to Braunschweig, in northern central Germany. We call it Brunswick in English, Braunschweig. And I went back to see the school in 2015. And I saw it in 2011 briefly, and then again in 2015. And it was all male. And when I got into the 11th grade, they were studying differential calculus and preparing to move into integral calculus. Well, that was a bit advanced for me. You know, I'd gone through algebra and trigonometry and so forth, but differential and integral calculus in the 11th grade, this was a real problem. And I struggled mightily. And this was a school with 13 grades. And by the time you finished, if you completed your Abitur, you were qualified to go to any university in the country. You were stamped, you got the stamp of approval. They did look at your performance on your final exams, but this was very, very rigorous. I mean, I was dealing with classmates who were on the humanities side. I was stuck on the math science side, which was the wrong place for me at the time. But, you know, I survived. Lots of beer. Anyway, on the other side, they were studying Greek and Latin, along with French and English. It was very rigorous. This was a university prep school because the Germans had a system where at the 5th grade and the 9th grade, people were separated and were sent off to what we would call trade schools. You could learn to be a hotel manager. You could learn to be any number of different trades or whatever skills were needed, from electrician to plumber or something else. Only about 15% went through this university prep system, which was designed to send you to a university where you would go on to do great things. So I got back there, and we were all male. And the first thing that I saw on the first day, I came in there, and everybody was fairly nice to me. They thought I was strange, and I thought they were strange, but, you know, whatever. Germans were different, you know. I said, geez, these Germans are very different. And they gave me a seat, told me where to sit, and the instructor walked into the classroom. And the instructor said, "Guten Morgen, meine Herrschaften." And everybody stood up at attention. Said, "Guten Morgen, Herr Studienrat." And he would say, "Bitte, meine Herren, setzen Sie sich." And we all sat down. Let me tell you, what happened after that was serious. We sat down and we focused nonstop for an hour and 20 minutes on whatever the subject matter was. And the instructor was very well trained, very well educated, and he would turn around and he would say to one of the students at the top of the class in the front row, I sort of sat in the back, and this guy was the individual that recorded whatever was taught in the class that day. And he would say, "What did we discuss the last time?" And he would open the book and he said, "The last time we discussed the following things." And he said, "Exactly. This time we are going to do the following." Let me tell you, it was one of the best educations I've ever gotten in my life. But what really struck me was focus. School was not about anything else other than infusing minds with understanding and knowledge. It was very effective. So when I went back in 2015, I looked around. Suddenly, there were all these girls. There were no women with us. We were all male. Suddenly, I have all these girls in the hallways. And I peeked in and I saw, and the teacher walked in and said, "Okay, students, please take your seats and we'll get going." And I was shocked. So I spoke to the man that ran the school. I said, "Oh, we've adopted the American model. We've done everything that you do in America now." I said, "You've lost your mind."
Just like lowered the standards dramatically?
What you had here worked. It was brilliant. And I was so grateful that I was exposed to it. And you ruined it. Of course, they said, "Well, this man's a Neanderthal. He's an idiot. He doesn't understand what he's talking about." Germany has to get back to basics. Go back to being German and stop apologizing for being German. Do what Germans do best. I'm not saying Germans are perfect, but every nationality in Europe has a certain area of expertise, a certain specialty
Yes.
that they do very, very well. The Germans need to get back to that and stop apologizing for events that happened long before any of these people were born. That doesn't mean that you're denying something that happened. Absolutely not.